This time of year can feel a lot harder than others. It can put a lot of pressure on us to perform perfectly. We're surrounded by all this new year, new me, resolutions, intentions, diet culture, people setting huge life changes. We start to get kind of wrapped up in setting high and even impossible expectations. And then when we don't meet them, we start to feel like we're a failure, become full of guilt and shame. It's also triggering and overwhelming. So I wanted to offer you this practice today that lets go of perfection, to acknowledge that we're all different. We're not perfect, we mess up, we make poor choices sometimes, and that's okay. Making mistakes and being imperfect doesn't make you a failure, it makes you human. So instead of putting more pressure on yourself this time of year, perhaps you can give yourself permission to take care of yourself, to fight the darkness you feel and add in an extra layer of self-care and compassion. Allow yourself some time to release fatigue in both body and mind with this nourishing flow. So throughout this practice, I'm going to be using 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, they can be easily substituted with a stack of books, some pots or pans, some folded blankets, anything that can raise the level of the ground up to meet your hands. So I look forward to sharing this practice with you, and I will see you in a moment on the mat. As we move through the practice today, I'll be offering you lots of options so that we can move away from the idea of perfectionism and trying to recreate a certain form in our asana, and more to embrace how we feel in the present moment, and just to know that you're doing the best you can. So you don't have to worry how it looks, or if you fall, if you wobble, if you want to change your position at any time. Just notice how you're feeling and embrace that. I may bring your awareness to certain sensations as we move through the practice, and if you don't feel those sensations, then also know that that's absolutely normal, perfectly okay, and embrace what you're feeling, what's coming up for you in the present moment, and really add in that extra layer of self-care and compassion by honouring your body always. So we'll start in a seated position, and feel free to make that as comfortable as you would like. You could always sit on a cushion or perhaps on a chair. And then once you get into your seated position, take a moment to notice the parts of the body that connect with the ground. And can you bring your awareness down to your sitting bones? And imagine that you have actual roots growing down from your sitting bones all the way down to the center of the earth, drawing you a little tighter into your seat, nourishing you, holding you, supporting you. And from these foundations, you start to grow, adding a little more length into the spine, reaching the crown of the head upwards, softly drawing the shoulders back and down. And perhaps explore with bringing your awareness to your breath. Without any need to change the breath in any way, Just follow the breath as it moves in and out. And beginning to add in a little movement with the breath, if that feels comfortable for you. We could start to raise the arms up overhead as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bringing the hands all the way back down, allowing the fingertips to graze the earth. For the full inhale, reaching the arms up, growing the fingertips high towards the sky. And for the whole exhale, allowing the arms to travel all the way back down. And we'll take one more full breath in and out. And then this time, we'll reach the arms up. And as you breathe out, bring the left fingertips down to graze the earth. And feel that connection of the fingertips on the ground. And as you do that, reach your right fingertips up towards the sky. Invite in as much breath as you can. As we breathe out, we're going to start to slightly lean towards the left side. Feeling the roots from our sitting bones still supporting us down into the earth. And allow this top arm to start to drape across the top of the head. As we start to sit the body back up straight, use your hand, your right hand, to gently ease the head towards the right side, bringing the right ear towards the right shoulder. Now, perhaps you start to notice a sensation in the side of the neck, perhaps down into the trapezius muscle at the top of the shoulder. And it may feel okay to stay here, or you might like to bring your hand to rest onto your knee. You could explore with different sensations by perhaps lifting the fingertips away from the ground, maybe moving the arm back a little, or perhaps bringing the hand to the shoulder and gently moving the hands apart. And then slowly lifting the head back up to our neutral position, start to slide the right hand down the back of the neck. So maybe it rests on the back of the neck, maybe it comes down between the shoulder blades. And we'll take the left arm over the top of the head and catch hold of the elbow. And invite the breath in here. And as we breathe out, starting to lean towards the left side. And notice if you can feel the ribs start to expand. And keeping the sitting bones rooting down, perhaps lifting the armpit a little bit further away from the hip. And coming back to the center, bring both hands back down to the earth. Take a moment to feel what you're feeling. Perhaps there's a little tingling sensation through the arms. Now, if you're in a cross-legged seat, I invite you to switch your legs so you have the other leg in front. And we'll invite the breath in, reaching the arms up over the head. As we breathe out, we're going to bring the right hand down to touch the earth. And really reaching up through the left fingertips, lifting the armpit a little higher away from the hip, keeping our roots, holding our foundation strong into the earth. Start to lean towards the right side. Then from here, the left arm can start to drape across the top of the head. Then as we slowly start to sit back up, we'll use the left hand to gently draw the left ear towards the left shoulder. Okay, and notice how your sensations feel this side, and it could be completely different from what you felt the other side. And then you choose if you'd like to place your hand maybe on your knee, maybe sending the arm back a little, maybe the hand on the shoulder, or maybe something completely different. And it doesn't have to look symmetrical. It could be completely different to what you did on the other side. And slowly, as you bring the head back up to its neutral position, slide the left hand down the back towards the back of the neck or in between the shoulder blades, reaching the right arm across to catch the left elbow. Invite the breath in. And then as you breathe out, you can start to lean towards the right side and see if you can notice these intercostal muscles between the ribs start to expand. You could always send the breath there. And as we come back up to center, release the arms, bringing the hands behind the back. Now you could bring the fingertips to the floor, or you can interlace the fingers together behind the back. Allow the shoulders to gently rise up and then pull back towards one another. And then from here, think of pressing the heart forwards and up, drawing the shoulder blades back towards one another. And if the hands are interlaced behind the back, you could start to lift the hands a little bit away from your sacrum. Nice, releasing the hands down. We're going to move on to our hands and knees. So take all the time you need to get there. And once you come onto your hands and knees, spread the fingers and feel the palms of the hand rooting down. So perhaps you can imagine those vines, those roots growing out from the palm of the hand down into the center of the earth. And we're going to start to ripple through the spine by tilting the tailbone up towards the ceiling, pressing down through the hands as you reach the heart forwards. Then keep pressing down through the hands and allow the tailbone to start to tuck under. And see if there's any kind of anything that you can release out of the head and the neck, and just let it hang. Now, you might like to do this breath per movement. So perhaps inhale as you start to arc the heart forwards between the arms, and exhale as you start to round through the spine. Maybe you want to go a little slower, so you can take as much time as you like to really feel the ripples of the spine, and perhaps add in any kind of little wiggles or movements that feel good as you go. So don't worry about what it looks like, how fast, how slow. Just move into those sensations of how it feels in your body. And you're more than welcome to carry on with this intuitive movement here. Or perhaps you'd like to journey to downward facing dog. So you choose your adventure right now. If you would like, you could arc the spine, reaching the heart forwards between the arms, tucking the toes under, and root the toes down into the earth. Then start to press down more through the palms, lifting the knees, reaching the sitting bones up and back. And keep the knees bent to begin with, really pressing the hands down. Feel the foundation through the hands and the feet. And then perhaps you might like to add in some wiggles and maybe pedal the heels up and down. And this is quite a big transition from where we've been, so take your time. And anytime this is not feeling good, then come back down to your hands and knees. Maybe find some intuitive movement there. Lowering the knees back down to the earth. Untucking the toes. Gently start to move the hips back towards the heels. And you could sit all the way back, perhaps resting the head down towards the earth. Or you might like to stay a little bit more active, really rooting the palms down, keeping the elbows lifted and looking forwards. And in your own time, in your own way, coming back to your hands and knees. And downward dog is always there for you if you would like to journey back there. And in your own time, in your own way, walking the feet forwards towards the top of the mat. Bringing the feet to a comfortable distance underneath you. Now start to feel the feet on the ground. And imagine those roots now coming from the feet and really firming your foundation into the earth. So you might like to take hold of opposite elbows. You could allow the body to gently sway side to side. And another option perhaps is to interlace the fingers behind the back. You could start to draw the shoulder blades towards one another. And with keeping a soft bend in the elbows, perhaps lift the hands up away from the lower back. And wherever you are in this shape, is there anywhere that you could perhaps add in an extra layer of kindness and compassion? Perhaps smooth out any tension from the forehead. Separate the teeth and soften the jaw. And then bringing the hands onto the hips. Slowly rise up to stand. Take your time. Bring the arms down by the sides. Taking your awareness to the foundations of the feet. Feeling the whole sole of the foot onto the ground. As we invite the breath in, you might like to reach your arms all the way up over the head, really rooting down through the feet and rising up through the fingertips. As we breathe out, softening the knees, start to hinge the hips forwards. And perhaps bring your hands onto your blocks. Inviting the breath in, we'll start to lengthen through the spine. So keep the gaze down towards the ground. Imagine a nice long spine, nice flat back where you could rest your cup of tea. And we'll start to bow forwards. And as we inhale into this half lift, root down through the right foot, lift the left foot up and step it towards the back of the mat. Bring the back knee down to the ground. And with a slight round in your spine, slowly lift the hands off the blocks Roll the shoulders up towards the ears, pin them back towards one another, and interlace the hands at the lower back. Keep drawing the shoulder blades back towards one another and press the heart forwards. Now you could stay exactly as you are. You might like to slide the hands down towards the ground. Keep pressing the rib cage forwards, lifting the heart up. You could stay here, you could release the hands, perhaps reach the arms up over the head. And bringing our hands back onto the blocks. I invite you to explore with extending the front leg. So it doesn't need to go all the way straight. Come away from the idea of how you think it should look and really become aware of the sensations that we're going to feel in the legs, and try to just be present with what you're feeling. So I invite you here to dig the heel down into the ground, flexing your foot, and then magnetize the 2 feet towards one another. So if you can feel a little bit of activation in the hamstrings and the back of your leg. And maybe it's more comfortable for you to have quite a bent knee. So see if you can fire up the hamstrings in the back of the leg. And then start to untuck the tailbone as if you're pointing it towards the back of the mat, arcing the heart forwards. And notice if that brings around a little change in sensations that you feel. Keep magnetizing the feet towards one another. And you might want to stay here in a static hold, or you might like to add in movement. So you could tuck the tailbone under and untuck it like cat and cow. And start to bend into the front knee and feel the whole sole of the foot as it presses into the ground. Tuck in the back toes, lift the knee. Press down through the feet to rise up to a high lunge. And bringing the hands back onto the blocks. You could start to straighten the leg any amount. So maybe you keep quite a bend in the knee here, or you could start to straighten the leg. Tilt the tailbone up towards the sky as you reach the heart forwards towards the toes. And press down through the feet. And imagine you're sliding them apart from one another, and see if that changes any sensations you're feeling in your body. Now bending into the front knee, step the left foot forwards. Take a half lift and slowly stepping back with the right foot. Bring the knee down to the ground. Rounding through the spine, start to lift the hands from the blocks. Roll the shoulders up by the ears and draw them back towards one another as you interlace the hands behind the back. Now you might like to explore with switching the grip of your hands. So we have like a dominant grip on our hands. We always have the same thumb and little finger on top. So you could just try switching that and see how it feels. And you could stay exactly as you are here. You might like to start to slide the hands towards the earth. Pressing the rib cage forwards, lifting the heart up. And you again might choose to stay here, or you could reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Bringing the hands back to the blocks. We'll start to extend through the front leg. So don't worry if this isn't symmetrical and looks very different one side to the other. Become more attached to how it feels in your body. Press down through the heel and feel like you're magnetizing your 2 feet towards one another. Slightly tilting the sitting bones back towards the back of the mat, arcing the heart forwards towards your toes. And wherever you are, keep drawing the 2 feet towards one another. See if you can activate your hamstring muscles down the back of the leg. And you could explore with a little bit of movement here by sort of untucking the tailbone and then tucking it under. Thinking of like a cat and cow spine. And noticing any changing sensations that perhaps brings about. And start to bend into the front knee and feel the whole sole of the foot connect with the ground. Lift the back knee up and root down through the feet to slowly rise up to a high lunge. Bringing the hands back to the blocks and start to straighten up through the front leg any amount. And you could explore with tilting the sitting bones back towards the back of the mat, arcing the heart forwards as you bow towards the toes. And bend into the front knee, stepping forwards. Bring the hands onto the hips and slowly rise up to stand. Feeling the foundations of the earth beneath the feet. Now really rooting down through the left foot, coming onto the tiptoes of our right foot, and then start to turn the right knee out to the side. So we're coming into tree pose, so I really invite you to embrace your wobbles. If you think of the tree out in the nature, they do sway in the wind. No tree is exactly still and has a perfect form. They're all different, they're all moving and swaying. So embrace the nature and the wobbles and anything that happens here. Now you could keep your toes on the ground. You could slide your foot across to rest by your ankle, perhaps taking the foot up the leg. Okay, you can come up to any height that feels comfortable for you. And if you fall, like that, you just pick yourself up and start again. Okay, you can have the hands at the heart, you could reach the arms up and out like branches. And then bringing the right foot down to the ground. Feel the foundations beneath both feet. And rooting down through the right foot, come onto the left toes. Turning the left knee out. And then you can decide where exactly you'd like to place your foot. And start to hug everything in towards the midline. So you press your leg into your foot into your leg. Find your solid foundations into the ground. Hands can be down, they can be up, they can be flying out to the side. And whenever you feel ready, come back to both feet. Find your breath. Bringing your awareness to the foundations beneath the feet. Rooting down as you invite the breath in, rise the arms up. And bring the hands to the heart center. Turning the toes out slightly, bending the knees, bringing the hips down towards the heels. So you may be on your toes, your heels may be down. You might like to take a block underneath your hips. You know, you choose where you'd like to go here. You could keep the hands at the heart, you could have the hands on a block or on the ground. So, you know, after this, we're going to be coming down to our sitting bones. So if you fall there, then just stay there. That's cool. If you are comfortable in this malasana, just notice the parts of the foot that are on the ground. Feel them rooting down. And then start to rise up through the crown of the head. Slowly lowering onto your sitting bones. Bring the soles of the feet together. And feel the feet touch each other. So like if you were touching someone else's hand, you kind of feel those sensations between the palms. See if you can start to feel that own sensation between your feet and perhaps between your hands as well. You could bring the hands to rest onto your ankles or perhaps to touch the ground. And start to grow through the spine, feeling the roots back at your sitting bones, harnessing you into the ground. Now, you could stay exactly here, or you might like to explore with coming forwards, maybe keeping a longer spine, more activation through the back muscles, or perhaps allowing the body to rest, bringing the head down towards the feet. See what your body's calling for right now. Honor that compassion and kindness. And just because you choose to go there initially doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can always move. And then you might choose to stay into a seated position to integrate everything that we've done throughout this practice. Or you might prefer to bring the feet flat to the floor and slowly lower yourself down to the ground. Okay, you could always have the knees bent or straight legs or lie on your side. You come into any position, there's no right or wrong. Any position that's going to help you to rest, to honor this moment of rest. Taking a moment to notice the parts of the body connecting to the earth. Can you notice where your feet touch the floor? Perhaps it's the soles of the feet, the outer edge of the foot, the heel. Be present with the feet. And can you notice what you feel underneath the feet? Is it cool or warm? Hard or soft? Be present with the texture, the temperature that you feel where your feet touch the ground. You might like to bring your awareness to your breath. And as we take a few more moments of rest, is there anywhere that you could release a layer of constriction? Bring in a little bit of ease into your elbows, freedom into your fingertips, softness into the shoulders. Perhaps separate the back teeth and soften the jaw. Smooth out the forehead. And take as long as you need here to honour this moment of rest. Thank you for joining me today. It's been an honour to share this practice with you. And remember that life goes so fast. Don't forget to live in the moment. Don't think too far ahead. Appreciate what you have. Appreciate how far you've come. Spend time with the people who matter. And be yourself. Regardless of the mistakes you make, you're capable of recovery and you are enough. May we invite peace into our bodies. May we speak words that heal and create peace. May we bring peace to our minds. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Enjoy the rest of your day.